Hi everybody, this is Amber, and I'm excited to talk to you about all-star stamping. So before I get into stamping techniques, I wanted to kind of share some things that can help you be really successful with your stamping. And I'm not going to try to spend a ton of time on it, but things that I think will be really helpful, but you do not have to have. So my first tip would be to have some sort of stamping platform. The Misty is a very popular one. I happen to have one of the older Tim Holtz ones. They don't make them anymore because Misty sued them for having a similar design, but they are still available on Amazon. Part of the reason why I chose mine is a large format. It's 9x9. There are lines here that the paper butts up against, but it's open. So you could do up to like 12x12. And what's cool about mine is it's reversible. So it's clear, stamps go on this side. You can lift this off, remove it, and rubber stamps go on this side. Also, the grid is on the stamp portion where the stamps go, as opposed to the base of a Misty. So what makes this awesome is that you can repeat over and over again to get a really clean stamp. If you are into more clean perfectionist style stamping, like some people, raising my hand over here, some people really embrace messy stamping. It's really entirely up to you, but this will help you get nice clean lines, especially with tinier stamps. You need to be able to properly clean your stamps. A lot of people really love baby wipes. I'm not a baby wipe fan. I use this Ranger stamp scrubber. It helps to get all the ink out of all the tiny little crevices, especially in small stamps. I'm also starting to learn to play with a Lawn Fawn stamp chamois. You wet this and then scrub your stamps off. I don't think it gets into the grooves as well as this does. It really depends on the type of stamp you have, which works better. You also need stamp cleaner based on the type of ink you use. I have StazOn remover, Ranger water-based stamp cleaner, and I even have rubber stamp cleaner, which I almost never use, but I have it because it's just so old. I keep it on me. And then there's also a variety of inks that you can use. For anything that is on a slick surface like transparency or vellum or photos, I highly recommend StazOn. I most often only use black, but I do have it in red for around Christmas time, and it comes in other colors. I just need to start investing more into those other colors. For my everyday stamping, I use this Versafine ink, which is made by the same people who make StazOn. And I find that I get really crisp details. It literally says pigment ink for fine details. I love this stamp. I use it for everything. It dries quickly. I've never had a problem with smearing unless I stupidly put my hand on it, and it works really great. I don't use it on top of photos or any slick surfaces. I use the StazOn for that. Next, I recommend, there are two types of Tim Holtz distress inks. There are distress inks themselves and distress oxides. I'm finding that I'm purchasing oxides more often. They have a richer color tone. You can blend with them if you want. But I find that when you're just doing general stamping like scrapbookers do and not like card makers do, that this provides a more rich, full color. I also go on his website and download these little colored naming files. I don't know what else you would call them, so that when I see them in a stack, I can easily identify them. I also have a few Kelly Perky's paper person inks. She calls them Basic Bees. These are a dye ink, so that will dye the paper and sometimes your stamps as well, but they have a nice big surface. She has some really great colors. And then I also have some Ellie Edwards, what she calls crafters inks. These are more of a messier, more of a paint style ink, chalkier almost. They do not work great for small stamping, as I have found, but they're great for big enlarged stamps. Things that could be helpful. This is my own version that my boyfriend 3D printed for me of a stamp ink holder. go like this, it would give you the option to like hold your stamp if you really needed to, if you were trying to prevent this from sliding around or getting messy or getting in your projects. There is a company that makes these for all the different types of ink shapes and in sets, like for mini inks, but I find that this can be helpful to use. Obviously not a requirement, just something to consider when you're looking to buy supplies. And then of course there are things that can help make your stamping more fun, like embossing powders. One thing, like you can use colors. This one happens to have glitter. You can see that I'm really drawn to this color here. It's one of my favorites. But one thing I think people forget is you can stamp in any color and then just go over it with clear embossing powder and get a really unique, fun look. You would just need Versamark or another brand's embossing ink to help this adhere, but you could stamp your project with like this ink right here, let it dry, go back over that same stamp with the embossing ink, and then make it clear, and it's a really completely, totally fun, different look. So just some thoughts on things that can help make stamping more successful for you.